Welcome to the Bend Don't Break podcast. We are powered by The Source, Bend's locally owned media company and weekly newspaper. This podcast is our eddy in the rushing waters of local journalism. We are glad that you're taking some of your time to listen to us chat with the people who shape our local community. Support us through our member program at bensource.com.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, RE/MAX Key Properties, a family-owned full-service real estate brokerage specializing in residential, luxury, commercial, new construction, and ranch and land properties. Their new state-of-the-art facility at 42 Greenwood Avenue is a modern, collaborative space and the new home of the Bend Don't Break podcast recording studio.
I'm Aaron Switzer, producer of this fine podcast and host, as well as publisher of The Source Weekly. Thank you for joining. Today we have in studio, in the RE/MAX studios, Katie Chipko. Did I say that correctly? Mm-hmm. She's been with the NatureConnect Central Oregon since 2012. She holds a deep belief in many positive benefits that time outdoors provides for individuals, families, communities, and loves to innovate and build partnerships to make the outdoors more equitable. Previously, she has worked as an educator and program coordinator at North Cascades Institute in Northern Washington and Opal Creek Ancient Forest Center in Oregon. She received her BA in biology and geography from the University of Colorado. Katie is a mom of 2 school-aged children and loves to hike, garden, ski, read, and travel. Hey, you're the perfect Bendite. Yes. Yes. Coming from Colorado and an outdoor educator.
I actually grew up in Kentucky and was born in New Jersey, so I don't think I fit the usual geographic mold. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on migrating from New Jersey and making it here.
Yeah, thank you.
You've been in NatureConnect since 2012. How old is NatureConnect?
Just about that old, yeah.
Okay.
So it started really in 2010. It was a Forest Service initiative where they were investing in getting more kids in the woods, was what they called it. And so they started what were children's forests then. We've actually rebranded. So we were the Children's Forest of Central Oregon. So it took them a few years to get kind of up and running, have a strategic plan, and they really launched in 2012. I was more or less their first staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought you from Colorado to Bend? I mean, even 2012.
Yeah, I had been in Oregon and Washington for about a decade. No, I guess I moved here after college. So I just went to college in Colorado.
Okay.
And I followed my sister to Oregon. I was just drawn to the Pacific Northwest and looking for some new experiences. I moved to Portland originally and then kind of fell into the world of environmental education, working with kids in the outdoors. Got my first job in that realm at Opal Creek Ancient Forest Center, if y'all are familiar with that.
I'm not, but I love the name.
Yeah, it's kind of a very sad story. It was this total gem of a place east of Salem, kind of near Mill City, that burned down in the 2020 fires. So the facility is gone, which feels like a big tragedy for people who know it. But
so are a lot of the ancient trees.
The ancient trees, I think, are scorched. Yeah. It's pretty sad. Yeah.
So just give listeners a rundown on what is NatureConnect. I know you got a lot of arms, but
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, we're all about getting kids and families outside and connected to nature. And really the heart of that is about promoting access, inclusion, belonging for kids that wouldn't otherwise have these experiences. We recognize that we live in this really outdoorsy place in Central Oregon where there are tons of people who are really getting after it and lots of kids
maybe to a fault
following in their parents' footsteps. But at the same time, we know in our community that there's just as many kids who don't have these opportunities for various reasons. And so for us, it's really important that being that we live in this gem of a place, that every kid that grows up here grows up with that connection and relationship with nature. We believe really profoundly in the many benefits that time outdoors provides, which if you have that relationship, of course, You love it for a million different reasons, and they often differ. Yours is probably different than mine, but
it's certainly been true that more and more people are realizing those benefits as they flee the urban centers since the pandemic and try to root down in communities like ours. And you mentioned that you're trying to make sure all children have this kind of access. So how does NatureConnect do that? How do you find the children that don't have that access?
Yeah, our work really started in schools. And so we saw schools as being, it's kind of the gateway to all kids. Whereas a network, so we are a network of partners, we were able to use data and collaboration to figure out, who was getting out there and who wasn't during the school day. And so we started there, and we really...
Because you do work with the school system. I mean, to be clear, these are programs that happen within the school day. Doesn't necessarily mean the kids or the parents need to take their kids out of school to participate in these kind of things. This can be right in flow.
That's some of what we do. Yeah, we have other arms of our organization, but I'll continue on that thread for a minute. So starting with the school day, one of the biggest barriers that we found was schools and teachers just not being able to afford the bus to get their kids out, which seems like such a small barrier. But then also just the awareness of the opportunities that are out there and the time, justifying the time out of the classroom. And so we've worked really hard to just elevate the role of these outdoor programs so that schools know that they're really great use of their time. They're super educational. They align with science standards, but then we also pay for the bus. So we have this big scholarship fund where we pay for field trip transportation. And then we've become like a one-stop shop where teachers can find out about all the different opportunities through us and our website that we kind of are promoting our partners. So things have changed a lot in the realm of outdoor learning since I started. Over the last 12 years, where it used to be about, I don't have the numbers memorized, but the numbers have essentially like tripled in terms of the number of field trips that are happening with kids.
I mean, if I just think over the continuum since when I was in school, I mean, outdoor education was your teacher walked you out to the park bench outside the classroom and you did outdoor school. Yeah. And that was the extent of it. There was no field trip to nature. And I mean, we were in Cleveland, of course, similar to New Jersey, but
that's cool too. I mean,
it was great. Hey, I loved it. It was like everybody loves that day. Like, teacher wants to get out of the classroom. Yes. We're all on board on the field trip to the playground. But this is so much better. And there's just a higher awareness, I think, mostly because of, at least here, because that's why it's core to a lot of the reason people moved here. I mean, I'm shocked by the number of people that move here and don't have that. That's always surprising to me because, you can look out and nature's right there, ready to be touched. But so you have other programs as well in the...
So a program that is really front and center to my mind is our Green Jobs program, which is an internship program for youth of color to promote jobs in the green sector in our community. And I just met with them last night at the river, so it's top of mind for me. But it's been going for 3 years. We hire between 8 and 12 young folks. They're in high school each summer, and we place them with different organizations where they can have a really meaningful summer internship. So we have a couple at High Desert Museum, a couple at Vámonos Outside, one at Ben Park and Rec, one's at Cog Wild in the for-profit sector. So it's a really inspiring program in terms of just seeing youth get a chance to really stretch their wings and gain some confidence in areas that you expect based on the job description, but then you also hear about ways they've grown in terms of just like getting comfortable with public speaking and social skills, which are things that I wouldn't put on the top of the list of like why they're doing the internship. But
how many people are there within your organization?
We have a team of 6. We're really small and we're all part-time. So 4 of our staff are actually part of Vámonos Outside, which is kind of the other arm of our organization. So Vámonos Outside started in 2020, And they're a culturally specific program that works with Latino youth and families and provides mainly outdoor recreation programs for youth. And these are mainly outside of the school day. So after school programs, weekend programs, they go mountain biking, skiing, kayaking, lots of really cool things. And we have been really honored to be a part of their journey. So we helped start this collaborative group of outdoor organizations and Latino community members that eventually went through this process that eventually birthed Vámonos Outside in 2020. And then since then, they've been operating as a program of NatureConnect. But it's unique in that they're really autonomous in our organization. I think as community members, they're, obviously they're serving a distinct population. And so people often think they're their own organization. And likely one day they will be, which will be a beautiful thing. But for now, we've just been happy to support them behind the scenes. And
that's great.
Yeah.
Making a swerve here, because on the way over here, we had this, we were having, prior to this, I was having kind of a conversation with a lot of staff at the source about the cell phone use that you find.
Yeah.
And, the governor just signed, did something the legislature couldn't seem to find the will to do.
Yeah.
And, ban cell phone use. But maybe you could speak from your perspective on, why I consider it a very good thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that without that kind of statewide guidance, it would have materialized into nearly the strong program and the kind of the strong message that I think needs to be sent around that. But what are your thoughts as an outdoor advocate? I know this is a loaded question. So,
I think it is the biggest competitor, surely, for outdoor time with kids is the lure of screen time. And we've been really careful as an organization to not, we don't want to judge parents too harshly for using technology to get through life, because it's hard to be a parent. I have 2 kids. We're not like a screen-free family by any means. But we use it in moderation. It's still cool, don't worry. But I think that it's got to be, in talking to other parents, it's like the one of the top parenting challenges.
It's got to be top.
Yeah.
Of course, I was a parent when it first was coming out, so of course it was super important. But we never had at that point the complete immersion that children have today, and so it's different. But I can't imagine that it isn't like the first thing that moms are talking about when they get to the park, and
totally. Yeah. I'm at this point, my oldest daughter, she's 9, so we're not there yet. Yeah. So we've been prepping her and saying just so you know, you're not getting a smartphone or a cell phone until you're in high school. So we haven't, that hasn't been an issue yet. Yeah. But I'm sure in a couple of years, there's going to be many fights about it. And I think we've found a group of people that are like-minded in that way, that are her friends. But that being said, I have been really admiring the work of Well Wired in the community. Have you been following that? You podcasted with them. Okay, well, I missed that one.
Yeah, she was. They were. I've rarely talked to a woman with that much energy. Rarely. I mean, she was. You could see why an organization had formed around her. So
yes. Well, I think it's. What technology has done to kids is detrimental. And I think people need to be really passionate to make some real change, and real change is happening. But we've also seen, we took the interns that we hired this summer on a camping trip for 2 days, and we took away their phones for 24 hours. We did actually warn them about it. And honestly, I think they were all really grateful of that experience. And it was, I think, brand new to some of them. A couple of them were really uncomfortable with it and brought some stress to them. But I think for all of them, when we wrapped up and reflected, they were all just so thankful to have that space away from them. And it was like a reframe in terms of how good it can be to clear. So I think there's awareness among teens as well about how important it is to take that space too. So I have hope.
Yeah. Well, surveys have shown that it's the parents that are more concerned than the teens about the lack of connection a lot of times, and with these kind of rules. And I was surprised in this conversation we had earlier today that, I have a deep animosity for social media, so I know that I am I am an extreme example. Yeah. But some people do not understand that the mental harm that it does to kids. They don't understand the addictive nature of social media, and so for them, it's and I think it comes from probably comes a lot from what's your own personal experience with social media. Do you use it a lot? Do you enjoy it? Do you consider it something that lightly touches your life, or is it something that's deeply immersive where you need to, be told to pull yourself out? I'm talking to you, like that. I think that changes the discussion. But some people just don't. They see it as very unnecessary that these kind of things are being mandated when. There are massive AI programs running to keep people engaged on these phones. During school times, aimed at kids, and I couldn't be happier, to be honest. So, yeah.
I personally think it's a great thing. Organizationally, we do.
It's your motto.
Yeah, it's our motto. Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about what people what children enjoy when they sign up for these programs. This might not totally answer your question, but we recently took over Skyliner Lodge. I don't know if y'all heard about that. Yeah. And so again, as this role as a network, right. So many of our partners and schools and kids use Skyliner Lodge for outdoor learning. It is a big piece of the puzzle in terms of getting kids outside. There's field trips up there 150 days a year. Right.
So we are really stoked to be a part of the next chapter of Skyliner Lodge. And one of the reasons we are so proud of what's happening up there is because that place has really allowed there to be an emphasis on free play outside, right. And kids just being kids in the woods, which some kids get to experience all the time, but a lot of kids don't. So we've been really proud to promote and elevate this issue through some teacher workshops and then support all the Skyliner Lodge work that's happening. I'm getting off topic and I'm rambling here, but one of the programs that's happening at Skyliner.
No, but I think your organization has jumped out because of the work you're doing around Skyliner Lodge. It's so important to the community. It's been an asset, and I think it rocked everybody to their core. And it was we're closing Skyliners Lodge. I remember going, wait, what? That's just been such a go-to. Of course, my kids took programs up there. I think it's a long tradition for, a lot of us who were here when it was a much smaller community, that Skyliner Lodge was, just an integral part of what you did as a parent. And I was super excited to hear that was something that somebody was doing something to preserve.
Yeah, it's such a special place. I've only been in the community for 13 years, but even so,
You're
can
practically a local.
Well, you can feel, the magic up there. And, when we were taking it over and we were looking for funds for the roof replacement, which was imminent, we got 1 million letters of support from the community about you got to keep this place open and here's why. And I'll close the loop here because so many of them came from the kindergarten teachers and students who have started doing this thing called Forest Kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
So there's I think there's 8 or 10 schools in Bend that are now taking their kindergarten classes up there once a month. Wow. Rain, shine, snow, all of the above, all the weather. They go up once a month. And it started out really focused on, we are going to let kids be kids in the woods and play and build forts and just, obviously there's boundaries and there's safety, but there's a sense of freedom here. And what's going to unfold is teamwork and social skills and learning about all the things that are here and observing birds and all the things. And some teachers have made it a little more of a formal program and brought in guest speakers. But I think the heart of it has really just been like, we have to embrace as a society more opportunities for free play, for unstructured play for our kids, and less prescribed activities where we're kind of not giving kids the choice to decide how they're going to engage with their environment. Yeah.
There's a certain level of arrogance, I think, when you've got a group of like 15 kindergarten wildlings and you think you're going to like really curtail like what they're going to do and what their behavior should be, when when you really watch them, all they want to do is run around and burn off all that wonderful youthful energy that they're imbibed with during that time. So it sounds like a fabulous program.
I mean, it was really just started by this one teacher at Pine Ridge, and then she like spread it around. The word got out. There's a lot of partners that are involved in its success, but it's a really cool thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Katie, we're reaching the end of our time.
Really?
What is something we might not have spoken to that you'd like to touch on? We can go back to social media bashing on that if you want to. I never tire of it. Megan, she might tire of it.
What do I want to say? I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a lot of great causes to support in Central Oregon, and just remembering as folks who might get outside, and if you have the ability to recreate and get outdoors and get your kids out on these adventures, just remembering that there's a lot of kids in our community who don't have these opportunities. And so maybe support one of the organizations in our network that are leading great programs for kids in the outdoors.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
If people want to get in touch with you or your organization, volunteer, support, where do they go? Yeah,
our website's natureconnectco.org. And then Vámonos Outside has a separate website, vámonosoutside.org.
Great. Well, this has been the Bend Don't Break podcast. If you like what you heard, you can go to bendsource.com, become a member, and support the interviews like this that we do with great people like Katie. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Bend Don't Break podcast, powered by The Source Weekly. To read, hear, and see more of what we do, go to bendsource.com.